The buzz around Manchester United right now feels electric. The stadium louder, the fans dreaming again, and headlines screaming that a sleeping giant has finally woken up. But beneath the celebrations and highlight reels, there is a deeper story that most supporters are completely missing. Because while the new era looks strong on the surface, the real numbers paint a picture that is far more complicated and maybe even a little bit worrying. Because yes, the wins are coming. Yes, the energy looks different. Yes, the squad seems more united than it has in years. But when you break down the performances minute by minute and compare the underlying data with the league's true elite teams, you start noticing patterns that raise serious questions about whether this revival is built on real dominance or just a temporary wave of momentum that could crash at any moment, because United's recent run has been powered by moments of individual brilliance rather than consistent tactical control. And that is something fans often overlook when emotions are running high. For example, if you analyze the expected goals numbers across the last stretch of matches, you will see that United have actually created fewer high-quality chances than several teams sitting lower in the table, which suggests that the attack may not be as ruthless or sustainable as the scorelines suggest. And defensively, while the clean sheets look impressive on paper, the data reveals that opponents are still finding dangerous spaces and generating opportunities that on another day could easily turn into goals, meaning that luck and elite goalkeeping performances may be playing a bigger role than supporters realize. And this is where the debate truly begins, because some analysts argue that winning ugly is still winning, and that confidence alone can transform a squad into champions, while others warn that ignoring statistical red flags is the fastest way for a promising project to collapse when pressure increases later in the season. And this conversation becomes even more intense when you compare Manchester United's pressing intense tactical teams in Europe, because despite the narrative of a dominant new system, the numbers show that United often surrender dominance, which can be exciting to watch, but historically has proven difficult to maintain over a long campaign against smarter opponents who eventually learn how to shut down unpredictable styles. And another statistic that has fans divided is the conversion rate, which currently sits unusually high, meaning that a large percentage of chances are being turned into goals. And while that sounds positive, it also raises questions because conversion rates tend to normalize over time, suggesting that the current scoring efficiency might drop unless the team begins creating more consistent opportunities. And the midfield battle is another area where the data reveals hidden weaknesses, because despite visible energy and work rate, the ball progression numbers indicate that United sometimes struggle to move the ball through organized defenses, forcing long passes and risky transitions that could be punished by elite teams in crucial matches. Yet despite all these concerns, there are also powerful signs that this new era is not simply an illusion, because the team spirit looks stronger. Younger players are stepping up under pressure, and the tactical flexibility being shown by the manager indicates a willingness to evolve rather than stubbornly stick to one system. So the truth may actually lie somewhere in the middle, where Manchester United are genuinely improving, but not yet the unstoppable force that the hype machine wants everyone to believe. And this is why fans need to look beyond the scoreboard and understand that true success is built on sustainable patterns, not just emotional victories. And right here, I want you to pause for a second and tell me what you think, because your opinion matters more than any statistic. So drop a comment right now and let me know. Do you believe Manchester United's new era is real power, or just a lucky streak waiting to be exposed? And while you are here, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss deep football breakdowns like this, because we are always digging deeper than the headlines. Now coming back to the analysis, another hidden stat that deserves attention is defensive transition speed. Because while United look aggressive going forward, their recovery shape often leaves gaps behind the fullbacks, which faster teams can exploit, especially during late-game moments when fatigue sets in. And if you look at the late goals conceded earlier in the season, you start noticing a pattern that could become a serious problem in high-pressure tournaments where concentration must remain perfect until the final whistle. And then there is the psychological side of football, which numbers cannot fully capture because belief and momentum can sometimes put in countless examples of clubs riding emotional waves all the way to trophies. So dismissing this revival led many promising projects to collapse under the weight of expectations when reality finally catches up. And perhaps the most fascinating aspect of Manchester United's current situation is how divided the fan base has become, with some supporters celebrating every win as proof that the glory days are returning, while others remain cautious, insisting that real dominance will only be proven when United consistently outperform opponents in both results and underlying performance metrics. And as we look toward the rest of the season, the biggest test will come against tactically disciplined teams that force United to control games rather than react to them, because those matches will reveal whether this new era is truly built on solid foundations or whether it has been inflated by favorable fixtures and moments of brilliance. And regardless of which side of the debate you stand on, one thing is certain: Manchester United are once again one of the most fascinating teams in football because they represent a club caught between past expectations and future potential, trying to rebuild an identity while navigating the intense pressure that comes with being one of the world's biggest brands. And that journey is far from over, because the upcoming matches will either strengthen the argument that this revival is real or expose the fragile areas that must be fixed before the team can compete for major trophies again. So keep your eyes on the stats. Keep watching the performances, and most importantly, keep questioning the narrative, because football history is filled with teams that looked unstoppable until the numbers finally caught up with them. And if you enjoyed this deep dive and want to continue the debate, make sure you watch the next video on this channel where we break down another shocking football story that could completely change how you see the game, because trust me, you do not want to miss what is coming next.